Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
The founding of Sunland. Sunland was founded by an unknown government organization after the surge in paranormal activity. They were the ones who funded the creation of Project Angela. So what exactly is Sunland? Well, it mainly serves as a foundation for different government agencies and organizations to collaborate with each other on certain matters that are deemed too large or dangerous for any one agency or organization to handle themselves. It's also responsible for recruiting people to be part of the LNCC, Low-Level Nerve Center Control. This relatively small group of individuals make up the backbone of Sunland's operations, working directly under their director, Jay. Their main task is keeping tabs on any and all happenings regarding unusual phenomena across North America and beyond. They are mostly active during the day as far as we know, but have been known to operate at night if needed. They have had many encounters with our subject, including, but not limited to, sightings of bizarre creatures and objects, people being abducted, mostly teenagers, strange happenings at Sunland itself, etc. The founding of Project Angela. This is where it all began. After the influx in paranormal activity, a government-funded organization known as Sunland decided to meet with other organizations and agencies, both civilian and military, to discuss what could be done. They soon came up with the idea of using a government-funded project to try and communicate with entities on the other side. The name Angela was chosen due to its meaning, which is angel or messenger. This project was officially started on August 1st, 2013, after many months of research and preparation. It's also worth noting that this took place at around the same time when sightings of bizarre creatures were starting to increase for some unknown reason, possibly being attracted by all of this chaos. Project Angela, Phase 2, Alpha Experiment. After years of testing various different methods on how best to achieve their goal, they eventually settled on an experiment called Phase 2, or otherwise known as Alpha Experiment. This involved sending two individuals, one male and one female, to different points in space-time. Once there, they would then attempt to contact entities on the other side. The two individuals chosen for this were a male named Matthew Fraser and a female named Kristen Kelly. This took place on August 10th, 2016, exactly 3 years after Alpha Experiment was started. They both managed to make it back safely with some interesting pieces of footage that is now being analyzed by scientists at Sunland's headquarters known as Skywatch Tower. Matt and Kristen have since been taken care of by Sunland until they can return home, or whenever Project Angela decides to move forward with their next experiment, Phase 2 Beta. Notes: it may be worth mentioning that these experiments are not without risks. There is a chance that something could go wrong during any experiment which could lead to injury or even death of the test subjects. Project Angela, Phase 2, Beta Experiment. This is the next step in the research project and will involve sending two individuals, one male and one female, to different points in space-time. They will then be separated from each other for a certain amount of time as they attempt to contact entities on the other side. In order to do that, they must go through an intense period of training with both their mind and body. This experiment is currently still being prepared for at this very moment. Notes: Project Angela has yet to decide whether or not it will let just anyone participate in any given experiment. Only those who have proven themselves worthy by showing their resolve during previous experiments are allowed into taking part. The only exception would be if someone was brought before them like Matthew Fraser, but even then there's no guarantee that they'll be allowed to take part. The director of Sunland is known only as Jay. He is a mysterious figure who once successfully linked his mind with an entity of the fifth dimension, allowing him to travel through time and space in astral form. Little is known about Jay, except that he is the director of Sunland and the LNCC, as well as a member of the Order. He has been in many different places across North America, especially near Skywatch Tower, over the years in an attempt to keep tabs on any strange happenings there. He seems to have a close connection with our subject and may even be one of the people who brought it into this dimension. The Order. This organization was founded by Jay after his experience with entities from other dimensions. It consists mainly of scientists, philosophers, engineers, etc. They are mostly active during the night when most people are asleep because they don't want anyone interfering with their work or learning what they're up to. Their main goal is to understand how otherworldly beings function in order for them to better understand themselves as human beings, so that they can find out why we ourselves exist here on Earth. However, some members tend to have other motives for joining up with the Order. They may be trying to use their knowledge on our subject for personal gain, or maybe even something more sinister. The Breach, 2017. This is one of the most important points in our subject's history. It all began on January 1st, 2017, when a rift was opened up between dimensions, allowing entities from other worlds to enter this dimension. This is what caused an increase in sightings of paranormal activity around North America, in particular. Entities were also coming back through the breach, which led to some encounters with civilians and government organizations here on Earth, the first of which occurred not long after. January 7th, 2017. Strange lights are seen over the skies of South Carolina at night. According to witnesses, these lights would appear out of nowhere and then disappear again just as quickly as they came. This went on for years before Project Angela decided to investigate it themselves. March 3rd, 5th. A group known as the Order investigated these strange lights along with Sunland. Both groups used their own methods. They found that there was indeed an opening above South Carolina, where creatures from other dimensions could come through. They also learned that there was a rift located at the center of the Earth. It's worth noting that they saw some strange lights in the sky over South Carolina on February 26, 2017 as well. Now you may be wondering how I know this. I am an engineer for Sunland. I hate this organization and everyone involved, but I'm stuck here with them. It's worth noting that my family once had a history with Project Angela, but they have since distanced themselves from it due to their involvement in it. They seem to be afraid of what could happen if they meddle too much. I don't think they will let me live after finding out about this, but I have nothing left to lose. I am going to try and find a way out of Sunland, and I'll tell everyone that I can about what they've done.
Where is Sunland or Skywatch Tower? What sort of surge in paranormal activity prompted the creation of Sunland? Does this have anything to do with skinwalkers and the missing people in national parks? Why did they have to send people to different points in space-time in order to contact entities? What benefit would that have?
Sunland operates in the upstate of South Carolina. The division I was assigned to is located in Spartanburg. I am positive other facilities exist, however. I don't know the locations of them. I also am unsure of Skywatch Tower's exact location. Every time I have visited to conduct experiments, I am in an armored vehicle with no windows. It was very clear they did not want any relatively lower-level personnel to know about the location of Skywatch Tower. Engineers like myself are spoon-fed information only when our jobs require it. Thankfully, I was on the front lines for many of these projects and had access to numerous incident reports and documents since my job required them. It's believed that a breach between dimensions was opened up in 2013 by an unknown entity. It very well may have been another organization like Sunland, but nobody knows for sure. Perhaps Jay does. Creatures and entities from other worlds entered. I don't know if this relates to the skinwalker phenomena. I believe skinwalkers have been part of Native American folklore for centuries, but I'm not too educated on the more spiritual side of the paranormal. They did this in order to see how well they could communicate with entities from other dimensions. They learned that certain points of time and space were more stable, for lack of a better word, which led to them deciding when and where the opening would be made. I hope this answered some of your questions.
Thanks. It kinda does. Skinwalkers are interdimensional beings that like snatching people. From what you've learned and experienced, what do you think this project could lead to? You talked about there being a potential sinister motive or end.
I fear Project Angela's discoveries could lead to the weaponization of our technology. War is a profitable business, and I am sure many members of the Order know this.
What kind of technology?
The technology that creates holes in reality. The technology that extends a handshake to entities more powerful than we can comprehend. If it falls into the wrong hands, God, it would be disastrous. Apocalyptic even, assuming there are worse hands to fall in than Sunland's, that is.
What did you engineer for Sunland? I'm very interested. I am trying to see if I can pull some chat logs from 2017. I'd be interested in knowing if you've seen them before.
Engineer is a bit of a broad term that I shouldn't necessarily have used. It's just simpler than explaining my full duties without giving too much information about myself away. After I was an assistant, I became an engineer. Technically, my title remains an engineer to this day, but I began to oversee projects and record data as I grew closer with the higher-level personnel.
How'd you get a position at Sunland?
My family on my father's side was involved with Sunland, as was my father himself. I started as my father's assistant. I didn't do much involving Project Angela at first. After the death of my father due to radiation exposure, I was asked to fill his shoes. The pay was incredible. I believed that I had my whole life made. God, I was terribly mistaken.
Do you know which dimensions Sunland is capable of opening portals to?
Well, not that this has any use to you, but we have named several of them. I couldn't give you a full list, but off the top of my head, Sumer File 03, Hamel, CJS, FYL 11, Murasaki, File 16, Vashanka, CJS, FYL 19, Chimera, File 07. Note, these dimensions have been known to change as time goes on, but they've mostly remained the same over the years. Most listed here are abandoned.
What do CJS and FYL stand for? Also, would they fall within dimensions 4, 12?
CJS refers to the fact that the dimension is inhabited. FYLX is just our classification system. These are only the ones I can remember without having the full list in front of me, in no specific order. Simply some random examples.
Do the entities Sunland has been contacting originate from the void?
It's not exactly a void. Quite the opposite, actually. It's an expanse of unimaginable landscapes and geometry visualized in three-dimensional space, which can get strange as the higher dimensions become compressed and the extra variables fold in upon themselves in a way I can't describe.
We are all living a lie. There is a group based in the Carolinas called Sunland. I've done lots of research and they do not appear anywhere on the internet. They have facilities in lots of places in the North and South Carolina area. Sunland specifies on researching, weaponizing extra-dimensional beings and making sure nobody finds out. Now for the section that may get me killed. I work for Sunland. When I say I work for Sunland, I'm not talking about being a secretary or some shit like that. I have seen people get ripped to shreds when in contact with these creatures. I will not say my specific job for my own safety, but it had to do with surveillance for a specific facility in South Carolina. They will kill me when they find out who made this post. I chose 4chan because I have heard it hides users' identity well. If anyone stumbles upon our facilities, we will monitor them and eventually murder them. We would follow them in black cars, and when ordered to do so, we would murder them. I shouldn't be saying we because I never killed anyone. However, the creatures told us they needed 3 specific people. These 3 people, who will remain anonymous for their own safety, know something we don't about the creatures. They are our key to harnessing the full potential of the creatures. Our relationship with the creatures is quite mutual. We help them, they help us. However, they are not a force to be reckoned with. I cannot describe what they look like because I truly do not know how to do that. When I look at them, I see colors that don't exist. I feel a vibration beneath my body, and I am consumed by their thoughts. To anyone who may have accidentally stumbled upon any information about Sunland, I beg you to stay quiet and forget it happened. They are bad people. Sorry if this was badly organized. I typed it out in a very short amount of time. If I don't make another post, you know what happened. Either they killed me or I will. Goodbye.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.